Well, hey, everybody, this is Don from the Vlog of Many Things, and with me is, we'll start with him, Steve.
Uncle Steve
sorry.
loves you. I love you. Hey, folks.
We have Eric and Mr.
Tom,
from Tabletop Tap Room.
Star Frontiers Gamer.
Everybody, Chad, how you doing? Scott, happy Friday to you. Tonight, we're going to do kind of something a little light and fun. It might not turn out to be light and fun, depending on the question.
Wait a minute. Did anybody notify Voldemort that we were going to do Ask What You Want in the chat?
Oh, he's going to be so much. I've already got emails from him today. I shared with him and all that. So
put out the bat ass signal.
That's right. So tonight, what we're going to do tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is you in the chat are going to be able to ask us questions, and we'll answer them. We'll talk about them. So if you want to ask about what Tom's drinking right now, you can ask. You want to talk about anything. Everything is open. The chat controls our content tonight.
Controls.
We are
yes,
under control.
I'm copying several others, but you know what? It seems to be
don't adjust you.
And Eric is doing the sound effects this evening.
Don't. This is why you pay the big bucks, folks.
Happy Friday evening. Hey, Scott.
And also, trust me, Eric is very expensive because we have to compete with Watsy and what they're paying him.
Oh my God! You know what they say? Oh no, that would be offensive. I can't say that. All right, never mind.
Eric gets a bigger check than the other three of us. We all get smaller ones than him from Watsy.
I actually got a refund check from my pharmacy plan, and it was awesome because it was actually a check for a penny, and that's about a penny more than Watsy has paid me.
You know those checks that if you don't cash them in the state of Maine, they
you mean my $7.48 bankruptcy check that I got?
Yes.
Well, these checks end up in the state of Maine in a database for like lost money, and my sister is notorious for she's just looking for a free meal, free money. She constantly checks that, and my brother has like $7 owed to him, and so she constantly he's got to claim that, and
drives her nuts.
And he leaves it there just to irritate her.
Michigan has a thing called lost property, but the questions are already starting. Foogly gets the number one. Foogly says, "What is your favorite music genre?"
I'd say contemporary
because I'm at top.
Yeah,
I'm top left. So, Foogly, the problem with my music taste is I am literally all over the place. I mean, I like everything from AC/DC to Enya to Mozart. I listen to just a lot of stuff, but mostly what I listen to is if I'm working, I want something a little bit low tone, not heavy rock and roll, just something kind of pleasing, and it helps my creative juices flow. So we will clockwise. Steve, what is your favorite music genre? I already know what it is, but I'm not going to say.
Well, I like contemporary, primarily Christian contemporary, but I'll listen to a lot of different stuff, and kind of like Don, like when I start writing, then goes the smoothing music, but otherwise for the regular listening stuff, it's the Christian contemporary. So
Thomas?
As a young teenager, I loved rock and roll. AC/DC, favorite song was Highway to Hell. Yeah, it's still my favorite song today, but I cannot listen to it because when I had my coming to Jesus moment, that song played a key important role in my coming to Jesus moment. And
Everybody has it. Yep.
I no longer believe I'm on the highway to hell. So it comes on the radio and I start doing this and I can't listen to this.
You know what? Gotta respect that.
But I really also love classical music. I listen to country music for 1 hour, one day out of the year, and then I've had enough. And the music from Battlestar Galactica TV series, the new one.
Oh, what they ask you?
Awesome. And I've been actually writing a Star Frontiers adventure while listening to the Battlestar Galactica version of what's that? The song that was so important there. That the Joker and all along the Watchtower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they redid that. Bear McCreary redid
Bear
that.
McCreary is an excellent
And I
song.
just play that over and over again, pumping
Yep.
it in the ears while I'm writing and working on this adventure, because that's the theme of this adventure. I was like, whoa, that's good stuff.
Yep. Eric, what's yours?
So like, listen, I love my XM radio. So my XM radio is almost constantly on classic vinyl, which is, classic rock.
Gotcha.
But when I step up to, like, was it classic rewind, the 80s? I'm like, this doesn't sound. I love the music. This isn't classic rock. This is the rock that I grew up on. This isn't. This is new.
This is just rock.
And then my third choice would be alternative rock, and then we go into the punk, heavy metal. I mean, I've got some things that I really. People go, you listen to that? It's like, oh man, the Ramones are so New York. You got to listen to the Ramones, So.
Yep. And the next question is from Mr. Gunn. He says, Don, where are we at Gangbusters order fulfillment? For those of you who follow the Gangbusters group, there was a small group of orders that were picked up by USPS that evidently were not scanned by USPS, and we've been involving them. We made a post in the Gangbusters group earlier last week, and we're following through with it today. And that is basically, it's a small group of about a half dozen orders. We don't know where they're at. We don't know what the hell happened to them. So what we're doing is we're going to reprint and reship at our cost. So orders are going out probably sometime midweek next week. So that is that. Jim Wampler. Jim, how you doing, my friend? Were we just talking? Jim says, greetings, program. Sorry for bugging you in messages, Don. No, you're not bugging me a bit. Jim is being gracious enough to kind of critique my cover for RP Gamer magazine.
Nice.
And Jim has been good enough he's going to be donating a little bit of a comic spread. Hopefully for Marvin the Mage, my number one favorite magical mage of RPG, fantasy, whatever you want to call it. Jim's top-notch people.
I love Jim.
Yeah, Jim's a good guy. David Thompson says, hi. David Thompson, that's not a question. Scott Mulder says, support.
That's how you say it.
Yep. Mulder says, don't forget me when the products are shipped. I don't know. I lost your order, man. I don't know who the hell you are. Who's this guy? So yeah. So basically tonight, like I said, we're going to be doing just some general questions, from everybody who's watching. Again, anything's on the table. You can ask anything. It can be everything from questions about game design, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, politics. I don't care. Tonight, you guys are the program directors. We are not. Mr. Gunn says, thanks for the update. It must be in the unique group. I'll keep an eye out. Yeah, it was about 7 or 8, I think. I think it was either 7 or 8 orders. And just as way as explanation, let me explain to people real quick how we ship. I know most people, when they have a bunch of orders, they take them down to the U.S. Postal Service, and you take them to the counter, you drop them off. I mean, that's kind of normal. We don't do that. We have so many orders every week. What we do is we put them on a pallet, and whether they're 1 order or 100 orders, what ends up happening is U.S. Postal Service pulls their little truck up, and twice per week only, what they'll do is they'll pick up our orders and they scan them. And we had a fair amount of orders for Gangbusters, and there was a bulk that the lady, and I'm not faulting my mail lady. She is an absolute gem, sweetheart. Alicia is just top-notch people, but she evidently didn't scan these, and we don't know where they're at. So, because I believe in the aspect or the concept of, it doesn't matter who's at fault, the buck stops at me as a company. If you ordered from me, I make sure you get your product. We're going to eat it. We're going to go ahead and ship them on our own dime. And to the people, to their credit, real quick, we've had several people say, Don, listen, it's not your fault. I'll pay my shipping again. I've politely declined because they should not have to put out more money to get what they ordered from us.
Yeah.
So we honor our orders.
You write that off as just investing in goodwill.
Absolutely, because the bottom line is this, is when you order from me, it doesn't matter why you didn't get it. You didn't get it.
Right.
And it's easy, like a lot of places would tell customers, well, file a claim with U.S. Postal Service. No, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You ordered from me. You didn't order from U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn says, Jim, when might we might see the next scientific
Ooh, that's a
barbarian?
great question.
I will let Jim answer that. I think I know the answer, but I'm not going to think if Jim wants to answer it in here. If not, Mr. Gunn, my suggestion is if Jim doesn't answer in the comments here, just email Jim. He's a great guy. He'll answer you. And I'll guarantee if whatever Jim tells you is on the straight and straight, he's no bullshit kind of guy. He's a straight shooter.
Ooh, good one.
Oh, David Thompson asked a good question. He says, what is your favorite mechanic from any game system?
Ooh.
So now for the next question, we'll start counterclockwise. Steve.
Well, mine isn't from a game specifically, but it is from a book series is Mistborn and the magic system he had in that about using metals.
Real quick, I got to say something. The Dragonlance Chronicles Collector's Edition is $18 on Amazon right now.
Really?
Hardcover. It's got the Joe Manganiello forward in it. They are signed by Tracy Weiss and Hickman, and they got all the maps in them. $18 on Amazon. So if you I already have Dragonlance Chronicles, but hardcover collector's edition for $18, I shit you not. If people need the link, let me know. I know Eric's looking it up right now.
I'm like, holy crap.
Tom, what is your favorite game system or game mechanic? Excuse me.
What's my favorite game system?
Let me guess. I'm going on a limb. Let me guess.
Well, honestly, I like the I like the D100 mechanic used in Star Frontiers for the skill system, where it's 10% per level plus 1/2 your ability score. You just look at your character sheet, you know what you need to hit, to hit us. So I just love that. It's so fast play, and I so became enamored of it in playing Star Frontiers for a half an hour before the 3.5 DM showed up. And we had 2 combats, a skill challenge, and some role play in a half an hour. An hour on that mechanic. And then we played 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons, and we were like 4 hours one combat. And I was like,
gotcha.
Fuck. This is the, and I became sold on that system. Then I always loved it, but I became sold on it there. I do like the roll with advantage, roll with disadvantage of 5e, and I like the torch mechanic in Shadow Dark. Those things are really clicking for me these days.
Eric,
it's not necessarily a mechanic, but the packages. Like when I first saw somebody go, "Hey, when you're creating a character, you don't have to go shopping. Pick either armor and weapon package 1, 2, or 3. Pick backpack 1 or 2." Because unlike Joe the lawyer, who believes that D&D should be a way to recreate your shopping experience, I don't need that. I don't want that. That's the part that I fucking hate about RPGs is buying the shit. Give me just basic choices. I grab everything I need.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
With me, I'm going to use more of a generic mechanic. And I know a lot of people despise it. I love systems that use skills. I love the skill-based system. I really like a system where you have specific skill sets to do specific things that bar certain classes from engaging in them or penalize them. I just think that's more of a real world thing. It'd be like if this show was a D&D game. Steve would have better skill ability at like programming. Eric would be more skill-based in law enforcement. Tom would be more skill-based in figure manipulation and painting, etc., etc.
In theology.
in theology. So to me, that's I just love skill-based systems. I know a lot of people despise skill-based systems, but I think if they're done right, I think, and also share another thing. I like Eric's idea. I really hate going to Walmart when I'm playing D&D. I just don't like the whole, thing. Mr. Gunn says at David Thompson, I love Five Torches Deep inventory rules.
Yep.
Mr. Gunn says, oh yes, Wampler is a mensch. I had an issue with an order. He fixed it. Wampler is top notch, 1000%. Mr. Gunn says $18. Yes, go to Amazon and type in the exact search term of Dragonlance Chronicles Special Edition. It's right there. I'm sorry, I gotta say it again. I am flipping blown away by this. I just am like,
Tammy tells me it's currently on sale at our local Walmart for like $18.
yeah. So,
Hardcover.
but see, the thing is, they're coming out with the next trilogy in hardcover called Legends, and Amazon has that right now for pre-buy. Ships in February or May, I think, for $40. But soft cover is $65. So, Mr. Gunn says deal and a half. Yep. Scott Mulder, interesting question, says OSR D20 or D100. Tom, it's your cue.
Well, I like the D100 of Star Frontiers, and I loved Iron Crown Merp back in the day. I kind of
that's an oldie but a goodie.
Well, the maps are just beautiful. You just look at it, you're like, oh god, I want to adventure here. But every module had the big bad being, because they had a limited bestiary, because they're just going by the books, and you don't get a lot in the books for a bestiary in Middle Earth. So every big bad at the end of the module was either a spellcaster of the mana, or of the channeling, or of the essence casting.
Yep.
And it just gets old, and but I mean, just wonderful material. Absolutely love it. I have a huge collection.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Eric?
Well, I started on D20, and I'm kind of used to it now. I've run RuneQuest. I've run Call of Cthulhu back in the day. I do have a certain love. That wasn't me. I didn't fucking do it. Tom did it. But
no, I heard
later, these big cups with blueberry mojito, not Coke. It has to be the blueberry mojito night.
Yep.
My wife will be pleased. She has to buy me new shirts now.
But my problem with percentile systems is that many percentile systems are roll low, which is counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
And I know there's a question about Open D6, the old West End Games Star Wars rules. I really like Open D6, and I would love to get a chance to play with those rules, because I think they're very flexible,
mm-hmm.
and they're still free, folks. Don't get fooled by going to drive-through. There's still an open website for it, because these are open rules, so you can still find the system resource stuff out there.
Yeah,
I think it's good. I think they're a good set.
Well, for me, between OSR, we're talking OSR here. OSR D20 or D100, I really like D20. I just, I'm used to the mechanic. It's a mechanic that makes sense. I think it's more systematic, familiar to people, more comfortable for people. But I have never been a fan of D100. So, Steve.
I play just pretty much whatever works best for the game, although D20 is probably what I've worked with the most.
Mm-hmm. Well, simple, easy. Mr. Wampler says, official update coming soon. SB6 is 98% complete, but was held up by me getting fairly seriously ill. I'm currently back on the upswing. I'll be back to work on SB soon. And I will say this about Jim Wampler. If Jim Wampler says that, you can bet that it's in stone and such. Jim, thanks for the update, by the way. I know you're put on a spot, but I appreciate you in here commenting. Mr. Gunn says, at Tom, thoughts on Star Drive? So we're going to kind of
I'm going
skip
to
Steve
address
for a moment.
2 of Mr. Gunn's comments because he asked about Zeb's guide.
One at a time. One at a time. One at a time.
Oh, come on.
Take them in order. Take them in order. Gotta be fair.
Star Drive. I think I downloaded a few bootleg copies, PDFs, pirate, of Star Drive that I probably shouldn't have downloaded, but I didn't care because I couldn't purchase it. And the Star Frontiersman fan magazine, before I got involved in it, actually had conversions of I believe the Star Drive player character races for Star Frontiers. So I remember looking at that thinking, oh, some of this is interesting. But I'm just not that familiar with the Star Drive. And I know that I think there's a Star Drive module that had the clicks, which were a race mentioned in Star Frontiers, but not properly statted up. It was just kind of a mention. And so I, of course, went on eBay and located that, and fascinating, interesting module. Just being the thorough collector of anything even related to Star Frontier, sure. But I don't know Star Drive well. And I know of other fans who have done, all right, Star Drive was this area of the universe, and here's the connection between Star Frontier. So you could travel in their campaign from one area to the other.
Yeah. I know very little about Star Drive. I've never played it, so.
Yeah.
But thank you, Tom. T. Taylor says, at Samora, are you going to offer a PDF for your module, The Haunted Ruins? Actually, yes. I'll kill a bunch of birds with one quick 30-second stone here. We are... What? Eric, is that sarcasm? Yes, it is, because Eric knows me. Seriously, though, thank you, honey. My wife brought me paper towels because I have spilled blueberry mojito all over my crotch and everything else. So
I'm not going to help you clean it up.
So my balls are blueberry today.
Oh, wait, you got blue balls? Oh!
Blue balls. All right. So, any rate, this weekend we are going live with the new Wizard Tower Games site, which is going to transition over to Wizard Tower Publishing. And every single product that is RPG related that I have, I am going to be offering a PDF version of it. I just think it's fair because it's so popular. PDF and ebook, it'll come in, or EPUB, it'll come in one little bundle. So yes, T. Taylor, check back probably by end of Monday and you'll be able to purchase. Yes. Mr. Gunn says, at Tom, follow up on Star Frontiers. Do you like Zebulon's Guide version of Star Frontiers?
When it first came out as a kid, I was like, oh, this is great. I could do a character who's a fighter, but has some medical. So he's like a combat medic. And I loved that, but it was so fiddly. And
that's why skills are so cool.
Well, no, it's a skill system. It's all skills. Yeah. But the problem is that Zeb's Guide took all of the sub skills. Like if you had robotics, you could do identify a robot, you could reprogram it, you could repair it. They took all of those sub skills that fell under robotics and made them a separate skill. So when I ran a game and I was actually running SF 2000 rules, which is a fan rule set, which is Zebulon's Guide on steroids, like roid rage steroids.
Which one? What was it?
It's called SF 2000. It's out there in the.
That's old though, isn't it?
It's from like.
So it's not like a newer pub. I thought that was old. Yeah.
But I was in the early 2000s running a game with that, and this character wanted to be a robotics guy, so he took all the skills, but he left out one of the robotics skills, and I'm like, and then he went to do that action, and I was like, oh, what do I do? It's just such a fiddly rule set. I hate it at this point now, and I've gone completely the other direction back to, Alpha Dawn.
Yeah,
just run Alpha Dawn, and we just don't care, and we just move on because it's fast and loose, and that's how I like to do it.
Mr. Fugly, thank you very much for support. It is very much appreciated. I'm also, just to let everybody know, the group here knows about it. A couple other people know about it. I'll be making an announcement this weekend. I'll just say that sometimes forced incidences have positive effects. And I think I'm going to be having a lot of positive things happening here in the coming couple of weeks. Good stuff's happening.
Sure.
Lemons out of lemonade. Fugly says paranoid skill sets. I'm gonna address this just real quick. You know,
Is that
I
Paranoid the RPG?
I think that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Fugly, if I'm wrong, correct me. But I don't like the skill sets in Paranoid. I
Paranoia.
admit that I don't know a lot about them, but I think what they do is I think they overcomplicate skills. I think skills should be very simplified. Um, you know, it's like the theory to me of, in an RPG, why in Lord of the Rings does Gandalf get to use a sword, but in AD&D, mages and wizards cannot use swords? To me, I disagree with AD&D because what stops a mage from picking up a sword to defend himself? Well, to me, a warrior who's trained on it, uses it, has basically grown up with it. He is good at it because that's part of his tool chest, so to speak. But a wizard or a mage, to me, what's wrong with them picking up a sword? They may be inept with it. They may not understand the nuances on how to utilize it properly, because that's like in open worlds, the RPG that we're getting ready to release. In open worlds, any class can use another person's skill. There's no limitations. But what you do is you take extreme, you know, extreme hits to your ability to use it. It's kind of like, Eric, you know, do you want to go and have a doctor take your appendix out? Because I can do it too. Not saying it's going
I
to be
love you, Don, but thank you. But
yeah. So it's like it's like kind of like the theory of, why are there licenses to build homes? Why do you got to be a contractor? Because a contractor's license demonstrates you have the basic skills to do what you're doing. So
so,
yeah,
so now
Well,
there was an article in Dragon magazine, and like somewhere in the '60s series, where they addressed that, and their solution was pretty spot on.
mm-hmm.
Yes, a magic user can use any weapon, but unless they're using a quarterstaff, whatever weapon they're using is doing D4 damage. They'll look
Yeah,
great holding that longsword, but they're not trained in it. Now, the fighter gets full benefits from using whatever weapon he has, and they scaled it down from
yes,
clerics to thieves. But the only D6 weapon that you were going to have as a magic user would have been the quarterstaff, and
yeah,
you still had to be proficient with it. So, yeah, you can be proficient with the longsword, but you're never going to do better than D4, and then the rest of your weapons are what, -5 because you're a
yeah,
magic user. You know,
I like the one meme that has a wizard standing there with a Thompson submachine gun. He says, "I may be out of mana, but I'm not out of options." And, and I thought,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good one right there. It's like, that's not your main weapon, but you got nothing else left. Heck, out comes the claymore.
Yeah. Eric, we'll get to your question for you pretty soon. I'm just trying to go through all the questions as
yeah.
they come. Chad says, at Don, given your like of skill-based system, what is your opinion of D6, Open D6 as a system? I really think highly of it. In fact, me and Eric got in that conversation
Yep.
about a week ago, Eric.
Yep.
My role-playing game I'm getting ready to release, called Open Worlds Role-Playing Game, it uses our own system called the task level system, which is indeed a D20-based system. But I will tell you right now that the Peaky Blinders RPG that we're going to be developing, along with our new license that we acquired from Wizards, I've determined that we are going to be doing a D6 based system. And you can thank the gentleman directly below me for that idea. Again, we have in this group right here, we have probably between us probably easily 150 years combined of gaming experience, maybe probably more than that. And I'll be utilizing all three of these gentlemen with me because I respect each one immensely, and I respect what their line of thinking is. Boone Flyer, Boone, I don't recall you ever coming here before. Thank you for coming to the channel and commenting. Boonflyer says, I prefer my annotated version of Chronicles, which includes notes from the authors. Annotated versions are really, really cool. But personal preferences, I don't really like digging into them dead deep unless I'm like really looking for their opinion. Because when I read a story like Dragonlance Chronicles, getting into like, the story, I just like really getting into it, and doing it. But you're right, though. Very, very good. Mr. Gunn says, Ice Merp, the maps were awesome. Yes, and I am a map lover. Beautiful map, Tom. Where's that from?
This was a rare copy of their main campaign map that was rolled in a tube, and I stepped up for that on eBay auction. I overpaid.
No, you didn't. I remember loaning that to you, so you got to get that shit back to me.
Because you can get this map and it's folded.
I had a folded version.
It was folded, and when I saw it in a tube, I stepped up on the eBay auction and bought it. And then Tammy was like, "Why don't you get that framed and hung on the wall?" And I thought, if I didn't love you before this moment, I just fell in love with you.
Let's see here. This is a good question.
I have a good wife.
Copies after Classy, they pulled it. Bought a drive-through RPG. Paperback seems to be more. Yeah, real quick, when you go to Amazon and you look at the $18 hardcover, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the binding is beautiful on this book. The printing is beautiful. They use a cream colored paper. It's a nice book. It's not like discount. We screwed up our orders.
And you said it was signed?
My copy is, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So they're limited. They're the limited edition copies that they pulled out.
So you're getting that through Amazon?
Amazon, $18. Yes, I'm praising Amazon after they screwed me out of my 28 gauge wire, but made it right instantly. Don, salty blueberry and nuts. Yep, it's a little chilly right now. Blueberries, I hear Beavis and Butthead in the background. Yeah. Yeah. At Tom, I never got into the resolution system. It was based on the Marvel system.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn says Star Frontiers 2000. Scott Mulder says Zeb's Guide, yuck. In defense only, it was never finished, so we got the garbage incomplete version.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, you're going to get 2 questions here.
All right.
Here we go.
Why don't you respond to this real quick, and then we'll get you a legitimate question. Opinion, thoughts on it?
All right, what, Zeb's Guide?
On Zeb's Guide.
I never owned it.
I own Zeb Guide. Look, I like the.
No, you did not.
In there, stuff on the Megacorp stuff.
Hey Tom, real quick, don't mean to interrupt. You're kind of like cutting line here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Go ahead. I know Steve's never played. I'm just messing with you, having fun.
I like the material that's in it. I never really used the resolution system. I love the whole, 10% per level plus half your ability score. Zeb's Guide undid that completely.
Yep.
And it didn't have any spacer skills, so I just was like, you have to fudge a lot with it. It was, and I happen to know from an interview that Kim Eastland did that he really hated Star Frontiers Alpha Dawn. He hated Nighthawks, and so when he got the green light, he was like, "I'm going to redo this whole game my way," and he wanted it more like Gamma World.
And what is your opinion personally, as a gamer and a game developer, of Alpha Dawn and such?
I didn't hear all of the question, Don.
As a gamer, but also as a game developer.
Yeah.
And as an ardent Star Frontiers, I'll call you a Star Frontiers theologian, because you really are.
Super fan.
What is your opinion, though, of things like Alpha Dawn and such?
Alpha Dawn's got some wonky little problems because it was taken away from Zeb Cook and Lawrence Schick at the last minute and then redesigned by committee, which is why Zeb Cook never wrote anything more because he was pissed. And I get that.
Rightly so.
And it was redesigned by committee. So you have things like vehicle combat doesn't really feel like it meshes with the rest of the system. So there's a little bit of wonkiness in there, but I really do like the system. I just, because I'm so familiar with it, I roll with it. you know, because the heart of it, the heart and soul of it, I just love the idea of science, technology a little bit beyond us, and Western, Western in the stars. I just love the feeling of that. And corporations being bad. I hate corporations. I hate big
Well,
corporations.
but also I have to defend games like Star Frontiers and Boot Hill and Gangbusters. And the way I defend it is pretty simple, and that is people have to understand what we're dealing with today in game design is highly refined. It's you know people have already tripped and skinned their knees. They've already rode the bike with training wheels. Back then, it was literally, for lack of a using a pun here, was literally Boot Hill, the Wild Wild West. I mean, these game designers like Tim Kask and Zeb Cook and Frank Metzer, they were kind of running, and this is not meant as insulting. It's meant to make a point. They literally were kind of running with one training wheel on, one training wheel off.
That's
You
a good
know,
analogy.
so, but real quick,
Concerning
Judd.
Boot Hill, there was an article in an early Dragon magazine, and it was stats for all of these fictional characters on TV. So if you wanted to have the guy from Magnificent Seven show up, his stats would be there. If you wanted to have Gunsmoke, who was the sheriff there? What was the guy's name?
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you know who I'm talking about. His stats were there, but then they put in like real life people,
Yeah,
like John Wayne.
yeah.
They put in like the actors, the real life guy.
Because they were trying to boost the show by bringing a
And they
familiar name.
they put the stats for the real life guy in there. So they had the characters, and then sometimes they would have the real life
Yeah,
guy. I look through that and I just laugh. I think, man, this is
yeah,
crazy time that they were doing all this stuff.
yeah. But
That
Judd,
was
real quick to answer to your question, without having to rehash it because we already talked about it. If you go to the Gangbusters group, there's a pinned comment by me, and that's where it's laid out. Basically, bottom line is I'm reshipping at my cost. Um, The great old one, thanks for tuning in our channel, says a magic user can use a sword. He's just a non-proficiency penalty. I can't learn and can't learn to be proficient with it. Yes, that should actually be a rule. That's open worlds right there in the core. And Raised Pork Chow says it might be your appendix. Oh, there's an appendix in my game along with terms and everything else. Fugly says, I've let mages use swords, but I give them terrible special effects whenever they carry large amounts of conductive material. I actually have a thing in my game where when mages try to use something out, like a spell, out of their way, bad things can happen definitely if they fail their role. Let's see here. Wizard should use spears very least. Thank you, Mr. Gunn. Um, just trying to find a good question here. Yep. Mr. Gunn says, what chased me is when they cross streams in RPGs and have class skills. Classes are supposed to be packaged skills. No, Eric, good question for you. Mr. Gunn says, what chased me is when they cross the streams in role playing games and have classes and skills. Classes are supposed to be a package of skills with no need for specific items. Boy, do I got a comment on that. But Eric, it is your turn, my good friend.
You know, I don't have a good answer on that one because he's not totally wrong. And when we got the Dungeoneer Survival Guide and the Wilderness Survival Guide, because skills were introduced with Oriental Adventures,
Yes.
they didn't really work that well. So, yeah, I'm not going to argue that point.
See, I have the opposite. I actually disagree. And the reason why I disagree is Mr. Gunn says when they try to cross streams in role playing games and have classes and skills, classes are supposed to be a package of skills with no need for specific items. But to me, that's kind of, and I know it's going to sound like I'm hee-hawing, but that's a yes or no thing with me because to me, and I'm going to use open worlds, each class has a thing called the controlling class. So like a warrior would have swordsmanship. Mages would have, spell casting as an example. So I think skills and classes can be separate things because if you use or attempt to implement some type of real world mechanic in it, and we'll use the Gandalf principle again, is, in classic role playing games, mages cannot use swords. Why? Well, because they're trying to put a definitive demarcation line between magic use and such, because nobody wants a magic user being able to cast spells and use a sword at the same time. That's what I think kind of the little barrier is there. But I think if you handle it correctly, Mr. Gunn, I think that there is a clear line. And I think that how you solve that clear line is you say, okay, you're using something outside of your training. So you're going to take an extreme penalty of some sort if you want to go ahead and implement that. It would be like, and I know it's kind of a silly analogy, but everybody can boil water, and we know that. But you actually kind of have to know what you're doing to cook a steak truly at medium rare. And that just goes by training and your skill at doing it. That's why they have culinary school. So,
Mhm.
bad analogy, I know, but that's kind of my thinking. Mr. Gunn says keep it either as a skill based system or class based. You don't need to put skills in your class based system.
I
And
agree.
and Tom agrees. Tom, let me ask you a question. You piped up. Why? Why do you agree with that?
Well, look, I love a skill based system. I love a skill based system that lets me create an unusual character, a little bit different, like the
Mm-hmm.
combat medic, or this guy was going to seminary, was kicked out of seminary, and now he's
Mm-hmm.
doing this other job. He's still got all that seminary training. I kind of like that kind of character, but I also like playing BX.
But
Just
real quick, I'm not trying to interrupt, but thought of this. But basically, but let's take this in a different direction here for a moment. So we have you as highly trained in theology. We have him who has very little, but he could probably still hold a discussion with you. So why would in so even though he might be a carpenter as an example, he may know a hell of a lot about building a house, but he still has some basic foundations based on his skill set to talk about theology, not to your level. But that's why I think classes and such can meld. But go ahead. Sorry, I just thought I wanted to bring up
yeah,
that point.
I just kind of feel like they're different systems, they're different ways of doing things, and when I first became a father, I parented one way, and
Mm-hmm.
now that I've had a situation where we've had a toddler come into the house, I have
Yep.
to parent differently. Partly because the state of Maine says you can't do this and you can't do that, and
And so does your wife.
and so does my wife. But
Yeah.
but the old me would have been like, there's a point where I'm like,
But see, there hones my point though.
two different
That
systems,
there's two
and
different
I have to
systems,
adjust.
but you have a basic skill set in parenting. It's sort of like me.
Well,
Here I am.
one system I've got to do things a certain way, and another, and I'm okay with that in an RPG. It's a game, and we understand the parameters. And so in one game, it's skill based, and I get to do certain things because of that with my character.
Mhm.
And in the other, I'm like, look, I'm just playing a fighter, or I'm
Yep.
just playing a cleric, and I'm
Gotcha.
okay because that's the system, and we agreed to play that, and I'm okay with that. And I just like,
Yeah.
and I love BX for its simplicity,
Yep.
and I just love playing that. Well,
Attention. Attention. Tom Verrolt officially announced he likes BX on the vlog of many things.
I've said that before, but I tend to complicate it a little bit. Like, you could actually play a goblin thief in my game, and I would make that happen.
Mhm. All right. Great old one. Thank you for again tuning in. Says OSR and maps, my favorite is Wilderlands of High Fantasy and that series. It's my turn. So real quickly, I'll kind of like address the comment, but I'll take it in the form of a question. I'm gonna tell you right now, I am a map lover. I love maps. Wilderness, dungeon, I don't care. I love them. I have a big map hanging up over here of my world. maps make the world a better place, and now no pun intended. So,
Well, yeah. Then
um,
I went and sent him my little my crappy little
Land
Photoshop
Alliance.
drawing. Yeah, Land of the Lions
Yeah,
drawing of what the continent looks like.
yeah. Just the other day you did that. We're going to draw that map too. Mr. Gunn says at Joe Stone, Somali supremacy forever. Um, Boone Flyer, thanks for tuning in to our channel. I'm not sure if I've seen you here before. If I have, my apologies for not remembering. Says with all of the numerous options of RPG systems, age, YouTube channels, social media groups, are we in the golden age of RPGs? Let's do this. Eric actually did not have very much of a question. Eric, this is your baby. Go ahead. You'll start it off.
Boone Flyers question. With all the numerous options of RPG systems, age, YouTube channels, social media groups, are we in the golden age of RPGs? No, the golden age of RPGs was 1974 through the launch of AD&D in 1978 or so. That's the golden age.
Mm-hmm.
And then Silver Age is, I guess, Unearthed Arcana through Skills and Powers with TUI. We are, then we had the Bronze Age. We are probably in the Age of Enlightenment, all right, because you have options.
Ooga, ooga,
Lots of
ooga,
choices.
ooga.
It's the Age of Enlightenment because you're not stuck with what's on the shelf. You have an almost infinite set of resources,
Oh,
and you can even do it for free.
absolutely.
Okay, so this is the Age of Enlightenment if we're going to go for an Age of RPGs.
Okay, then it's back up to me. Are we in the golden age of RPGs? I agree with Eric's assessment. But also, I think in one way, now we have a platinum level of, if you want to call it an age. And this is the reason why I say that, is because think about this. We all can sit down no matter where we're at, whether we're sitting on the shitter or we're in the car, and we could take this device right here and we can find anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I see a lot of complacency online by younger gamers because they're used to it. And I remember as a young man, if I wanted to order the new D&D book or the new Conan novel, I went to the bookstore and they said, go check over there on aisle 3. You don't have it. And they would literally look it up on their paper, in their paper catalog, and say, I can order this. I do my orders on Friday. I can have it to you in 2 weeks. And I was like, holy shit, 2 fucking weeks? That's fast. I'll take it. And now, like Eric even said, not only can you find what you want, but there's always a stolen, pirated version online that
If you dig, you can find.
Yeah. I wasn't even talking about that though.
Yeah, I know what you're
Fantasy RPG, all those resources are free. OpenD6, all those resources are free.
And their license is free too. That's the whole point. That's what's the beautiful thing.
So there's so much you can do without having to spend a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that I don't spend a lot. I certainly do. But if I couldn't, I'd still have what's the word? A plethora of resources available.
Yep. Agreed. Steve, your opinion? Thoughts? Opinions?
Yeah, I think I go more with that Age of Enlightenment thing, that just the idea that stuff is so readily available now compared to what it used to be that it's not even comparable to the early days. This is I mean, you could call it a golden age, but really I think for me the golden age is more the quality of the stuff you were getting than the actual availability and things like that.
I think a good term to use, and disagree if you guys want to, just my opinion, I would call this more we're in an age of informational innovation.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Tom, what's your thoughts on this?
I basically agree with Eric, but I would expand the golden age into the 80s. But largely because I didn't touch D&D until 1980.
Mm-hmm.
and Mulvey Basic box set, and then AD&D.
Yep.
And Dragon magazine was so cool back then. I mean,
It was.
yeah, and then you went to the back and there was those ads, and you'd be like, send for a catalog, send $1 for a catalog with a self-addressed stamped envelope. Who does that anymore?
Yeah, and for those who don't know, you literally took an envelope, put a stamp on it, put your address on the front of it, and you sent it into them.
And they would mail you the like a mimeograph.
And it always, and the thing is, the funny part is, it always came.
Mhm.
They shipped you in your self-addressed stamped envelope.
Yeah, it send it to you, and so then you'd be like going through it like the Sears catalog, going, "Oh yeah,
heck yeah!"
And I want to get this, and I want to get this, and you try to talk to
This
your mom
Sears.
about like writing a check, and she wouldn't do it, and you'd be like, "How am I going to do this?" And then you had to figure out, all right, my lawn mowing money, go to the bank, get the geez, what? Nobody does this anymore either. Where you go and you give them money, it's like a check.
Oh yeah, cashier's check
Not a cashier's check.
or money order.
Money order.
Money order, yeah. Well, the funny thing
You had to
is,
figure that out as a kid so you could order something, because your mother wouldn't write a check because she's just not going to do that.
this is going to sound alien to a lot of people, but raise your hand in this 4-man group if you've ever taken a Sears catalog and given it to your mom at Christmas season, circled in red what you want for Christmas.
Well, D&D catalogs.
But basically, Mr. Gunn also says that, Don, defending those games, at least they're innovative. It feels like gaming world is a lot less innovative these days. The thing is, I think that the gaming world is very innovative. The problem is these days, and it's not really a problem, is innovation. We have so much information at our fingertips. We are now a now society. If someone comes up to you, and I get this, people will go, Don, I want to order X. How long will it take to get it? And I tell them, say 3 to 5 days. I get it all the time. People going, why can't I have it tomorrow? Amazon sends it next day.
Right.
So
Amazon also has the infrastructure.
Absolutely. John Miller says the fastest guns that never lived was Boot Hill article. Boot Hill is actually a pretty decent game. And by the way, information overload. Mark Hunt, amazing creator, is actually doing or has already done a Boot Hill kind of reboot that we're going to be developing. John Miller says Clint Eastwood was on it. Clint Eastwood was on every single thing that he did, including "Get the fuck off my lawn." Judd Goswick says Matt Dillon. Yeah, he was that. That was the guy, Matt Dillon, the sheriff.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn says, Don, perhaps it's just a myopia of nostalgia speaking. Yeah, I think so, guys. Would you agree? I mean, it is nostalgia. I mean, I'm not trying to sound arrogant here, but I remember, and this is a thing, in 1980, I went to Gen Con. Gary Gygax was sitting at the table, and you could actually walk up to him and talk to him, and he didn't have handlers. Matt Dillon, yep. David Thompson says, Once Upon a Time in the West has all the TV movie actor stats block in it. Is that a website, David, or is that kind of explain that? Bad Mike, how you doing, my friend? Thank you for tuning in tonight. It says Boot Hill isn't really an RPG per se. It's very connected to the hobbies wargaming groups. Steve, real quick, I'm going to skip me on this because I'm yapping too much. Steve, what's your thoughts on this? We'll kind of get into this a little bit.
On which item?
Boot Hill, you familiar with it all? You ever play it?
No, never had a chance to play it.
Tom, have you ever played it? If not, what's your thoughts about Bad Mike's comment?
I rolled up some characters in it way back in the day, but I actually played with my kids this simple game called, it was like a shootout game, and it was just like two gunfighters 20 paces away, and you shot, and basically your chance to hit, you could either shoot or move.
Yeah.
And so, it was a choice, and so your chance to hit was how many paces away you were. So you had to beat. So if you were 16 paces away, you had to beat a 16. So it was always dicey to, so I had well painted figures. The kids
Bad pun.
they love to play that. And I get it because I've seen some other game systems similar to Rule. They were more war gamey, less RPG, similar to Boot Hill. And it was, that's the toddler in the background.
I didn't think it was Cammy, but okay.
She has been quiet this whole time. But I can see that. I would concede Bad Mike's point on that. But I would love to play like a Boot Hill meets Weird West, vampires, ghosts, werewolves.
See, that'd be really cool. I think
that'd be cool. I have played Weird West at a convention, and the rule book is like 500 something pages.
Dang.
Okay, real quick. I'm not trying, and I really hesitate to knock another game because to me, as a publisher, it's tacky. But I'm going to put my vlogger hat on right now. I think a 500-page rule set is really, really overkill, overcomplicated, unless that rule set has the player's content, the Dungeon Master's content, a couple of monster manuals in it, and a campaign setting. Eric?
Mm-hmm. I own it. I read it back in the day. There was nothing in it that told me, wow, this is a role-playing game. It seemed more like moving counters and death. So there was nothing that it didn't evoke anything from me. So I was never a fan of it. It was literally opened, read, on the shelf.
Probably
and
way
real
hard.
quick, I'm not trying to kick anybody out, but Eric, I don't know if you're sticking around or you got to go.
I got to go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Eric, thank you for tuning in tonight. We continue to have a lively chat. We're going to be on a little bit. Thank you for coming on tonight, Eric.
Always.
Really appreciate it.
Always, I'll be on Discord for those who are looking for.
All right, and I'll make sure Watsy cuts your check properly.
Spell the name right. TENK.
Yeah.
Oh, carp.
They keep putting that P on the end.
TARP. I can't cash it if they sign it like that. You know what the hell?
But Eric, again, thank you very much. Have a good night, and I'll see you. We'll all see you tomorrow night with Glenn.
Yes.
And then we'll see you on with your beautiful wife, Rach.
And on Sunday, 7 p.m. on Rumble.
Real quick, is that going to be a normal thing for you now?
What, the Rumble?
It's the Sunday night thing.
Sunday night? Yeah, it's once a month. It's the last Saturday.
Okay. I was about to say, don't you ever have a freaking evening where you take a poop, drink some liquor, and relax?
Yeah. After I do the lives.
Okay. All right, Eric. Thank you again, sir. Much appreciated. All right. Chad says, Mr. Gunn, counterpoint. What if a systems classes had less to do with skill sets and more to do with mechanics to optimize niches? E.g., fighter gets more crits, expert gets more skill specialization. I'll tackle this real quick. Again, I'm reverting back to the open rules role-playing game and the task level system. I think that using real-world mechanics is an awesome thing, and I'm going to invoke Chelsea's game. She uses a torch-based system of timing, and she puts the nose to the grindstone. Your torch only lasts so long,
60 minutes.
How many times has GMs or DMs given somebody? They say, "I'm going to light a torch," and it's 9:05 p.m. like it is right now, and then 7 hours later at 2:00 in the morning, people go, what's with your torch? Oh, I'm going to put another torch on. No. I actually use Daggerheart's system in my system. My system was developed in 2013, though. No, she did not copy me or get an idea, but I just use those kind of real world mechanics. Listen, you want to light a lantern? Go ahead. You want to light a candle? Go ahead. They only last so long.
that introduces resource management into the game.
Absolutely, which is critical to me.
That's there are some game systems that just go, let's go cinematic. You just shoot that gun and keep shooting it, and so it's like somebody in a movie where they shoot the gun and you know it's a revolver. It should only have 6 shots.
It's got 30 rounds in it.
Oh yeah, so the rule mechanic would be like if you miss and you roll a double. So if you missed with like I say a 22 on the percentage system, then you're out of ammo and you have to. And I'm like, I just don't like that.
Yeah,
but I do like a game with resource management. Hi, I play Star Frontiers. It's all about resource management. So I kind of like that.
Yeah. Bad Mike says something interesting. Bad Mike, again, thanks for commenting. He says, if your mage wants to use a sword, geez, just roll up a half elven or elven fighter mage. But Bad Mike, my counter argument to that is that, you know, we're talking about implementing real world mechanics. I know it's a fantasy game. I know that's why people play D&D and similar systems, because they like the fantasy aspect of it. But to me, as a player and as a GM, my philosophy behind it is, yes, they could just roll up a half elven or elven fighter mage. Absolutely. Because you're in that game, classes have skill limitations. But in real life, and it's an easy system to implement, you know, anybody can pick up a sword. I mean, Oliviana can pick up a knife and swing it back and forth. Is she going to be effective? Absolutely not. As a 2-year-old, 3-year-old?
No.
But the point being is, if you're not paying attention, she can definitely slice your knee open.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the implementation of skill-based system into a role-playing game, I like it, because I like the idea that, you know, my character can try anything, like with the task level system. But the problem is, trying and being successful can be way different on the spectrum.
Well, I think there's some things that you just can't. You could try to do it. You're just not going to succeed at it. Like brain surgery. I have some science background.
Well, even simpler.
If I tried brain surgery,
simple.
I'm going to fail. I'm going to kill the patient.
Well, I can give a very, very simple analogy here among us three. Okay? Very, very simple. Tom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you access to my server. And I need you to go ahead real quick and change the DNS over to Liquid Web. And what I want you to do is I want you to FTP up a website. Now, you're looking at me right now with deer in the headlights look. But,
not going to happen.
But if I tell Steve that, it's done inside of 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Steve has a specific skill set that you do not have. But if I ask Steve, as an example, to go, Steve, what I need you to do is I need you to paint a miniature in hyper detail, and I need it done fairly quick. Steve's going to, because I know Steve very well, we've been knowing each other for almost 18 years. Steve's going to look at me and go, yeah, I'll get back to you, Don, on that. But Tom will say, I'll get that to you in 20 minutes. Well,
maybe an hour.
But the point being is, skill-based systems we deal with every day. Bad Mike. To most people, Bad Mike can develop and create a game convention like that. He knows it like the back of his hand. He understands the pitfalls, pratfalls, and all that.
He's been doing it a long time.
Absolutely, because he has the skill
mm-hmm.
to do it. And what are skills? They're just basic experience.
I'll give you another one. I was into rock climbing and rappelling. And
not my fat ass.
I went and I was called by my girlfriend, come down to the nursing home, talk to this guy who's cleaning the windows because they were hanging from ropes off.
What was this chick you were fucking dating, man?
This is ancient history. So I go down there and I talk to the guy, And I get the job because I knew his aunt, and I dropped her name, and I didn't know it was his aunt. I said, hey, just ask the director of nursing at this nursing home. And, so it got me the job, and I got in there. And window washing, the way they screw with the new guy is they say, take the 40-foot ladder and go clean those windows.
Yep.
So 40-foot ladder, you're up there, you're like standing on like 4 rungs from the top of the ladder, and you're just kind of hanging on. And a year later, I'm laughing to myself because a year later, I'm standing on the second from top rung. So I have no hands on the ladder. I just a hand on the building, and I'm leaning way out, and one leg kicked way out to counterbalance. And the ladder starts to slide. So I put the leg back in, and I hop the ladder back into place. Yeah. That's what a window washer does, but you only do that after a year's of experience of doing that. You don't do that on day one, but you pick those skills up after a year. And so next thing you know, you're hopping a 40-foot ladder back into place, 40 feet in the air. And people are like, I can't believe, or the ladder falls and you ride it down to the last minute, and then you push away so that you kind of do a little tuck and roll.
But that's a good point you make, because when I was a paramedic, you start off as a basic EMT. And when you're a basic EMT, you're like, holy shit, this person's intubating people, they're defibrillating people, but you become an EMT specialist and it becomes more clear. Your skills increase. You become a paramedic. You know about pharmacology and cardiology and ACLS and BCLS and all that. So that's the reason why. And this point right here, Fugly says, Fugly, thanks for commenting against this. Skills let us customize class-based characters. And I agree with that so much. And that's why I love skills so much. Again, Fugly says it again. We do not boil water to cook steak. Unless you're my sister, then probably you do. Robert Robertson, thanks for tuning in, Robert. He says, I adore blade slingers. The archetype of the magic wielding elf has always been a thing in fantasy fiction. I admit, I know absolutely zilch about blade slinger. Judge Ocker says, TNT, Talasanta, and Feng Shu handled this well. Specialists are better at things, dabblers are not. And I think that's the theory behind with me skill sets, with skills, is because certain people by job type, like as an example, a police officer for his job is not going to give a shit about carpentry. And a carpenter using his job is not going to give a shit about enforcing the law. Mr. Gunn says, Don, I see your point, but then I'll use feats, which are basically skill packages or class. Yes, feats are a thing, but again, when you look at skills versus feats in separate RPG systems, they differ because it depends upon what's behind them. But Chad also says, but then my homebrew is geared towards a modern setting where there's less specialization than in a medieval milieu. Exactly. I mean, it depends. I mean, and I'll get to my point here on something. This is why D&D is so popular. This is why fantasy RPGs are the number one type of RPG, because over the last 50 years, what they've done is they've shown one key thing that Monopoly, that Risk, that chess does not do in all these other popular games. And that is, you can take it and you can make it your own. And you can manipulate it and change rules to suit your players and your needs. That's what role-playing games have that is so magical, that makes them still one of the most popular types of gaming in 2025 right now.
But I also think that RPGs, part of the draw is that, like with my own kids, that one wanted to be a hobbit, they wanted to be, Bilbo, Frodo in Lord of the Rings, and the other one wanted to be Legolas. And that's what they were thinking when they created their first characters. And, for me, I was thinking, I grew up on stories of Robin Hood and Ivanhoe. And so I'm thinking knight in shining armor. I'm thinking of, Robin Hood as the Prince of Thieves, and so initially that's where I was. But as I became a more seasoned role player, I wanted to try different things. And
Yep.
so, but by that time, GURPS had come out and I've been like, whoa, you can do anything in GURPS. MERP. You can go into other areas, with your skill points as you level up and purchase, skill ranks in other areas that would not normally be for that character, but there's a penalty associated with it. So, but that's as I became more seasoned. But initially, I was just all in on I'm going to be Ivanhoe. I'm going to be, Robin Hood or Gandalf.
Mr. Gunn says something here that's kind of that interests me. He says, at Don, the callow youth of today are the worst. So much worse than the callow youth of our era. But you know what? In all fairness, Mr. Gunn, I see where you're going with this. When I was a kid, my grandpa thought we were the absolute worst generation. And my dad thought, and again, I think what goes on here, and it's a natural response, is, it's very easy to sit back and go, those damn youths, get the fuck off my lawn. You know what I mean? But the thing is every generation brings something. They do, and like I said, I remember my dad, going, what the hell is Pink Floyd and how can you stand listening to that shit, son? And I'm sitting here today going, listen, Dad, respectfully, you're deceased, God rest your soul, but on the same token, Pink Floyd is Mozart. Literally.
I don't know about that, but
I do. And the thing is, but that's the whole point. And Mr. Gunn, when you are 90 years old, sitting in your wheelchair, shaking your stick at the kids on the front lawn, you're going to think they are. And when those kids are 90 years old on their front lawn, on their porch, they're going to be thinking about the younger generation. We all love to knock the younger generation. Welcome to the club. We're all part of it. Judd Goswick says, I used to order a ton of stuff from War Games West catalog. Oh my God. Talk about a blast from the past. War Games West. Holy shit. I ain't even heard that term in a long time. Don't anger the no sass ogre. Mr. Gunn says, Don, many times the catalog did not have pictures. And that's the whole thing. Back then, they didn't have pictures in a lot of stuff. Does anyone remember real quick here? I know Tom probably does, but I'm not sure if you do, Steve. And Eric definitely would. Do you guys remember the old TSR catalog, like of 1982, 1983? And it was just like, all the different games and everything and the price. And it had like a one little quick line description of it.
Yeah. Well, actually, even one better. Dragon Magazine having photographs of miniatures, and they were the worst photographs. It was just like this gray-black blob on there, and you're like, okay, that's a succubus or that's a wizard with a staff. And, you had to go by the description, and you just took a chance on it. And
Chad says, Mr. Gunn, eventually I'll get the damn thing formatted and fit the publish. For now, it only lives as text files. Chad, welcome to the club. I don't even want to show you my pending file of under development. And I don't want to see Steve's because I know what's in his pending development file.
I still remember this smell. It lives in my head as a memory. Right here, this comment.
I'm sniffing away the acidic blue letter. Oh my God! School.
Mimeograph smell is just one thing, and there's nothing else like it.
Exactly. And then you walk away with a little bit of blue on your nose. You're not supposed to be sniffing the mimeographs. I wasn't sniffing nothing. Check your cheeks and your nose. Go wash your nose, Mr. Samora. Tall Tales by Mark Hunt is good. Real quick for everybody who doesn't know, Judd is absolutely right. Tall Tales is the Western version of Mark Hunt's game, and that is coming out soon. And we're getting ready to go offline here because it's going on 9:20. But let me kind of get through a few more. Wild West Exodus was an excellent Wild West game. The best one going, I think. Strongly recommend the group. Yes, it is. War Cato Strudels. Mr. Gunn says, Once Upon a Time in the West is one of the best films ever. Man, there's so many good movies out there. Great old one. Deadlands is weird West modern game. Yes. Oops, hold on one second. My apologies. So many great lines. I'm just kind of going through them. I apologize. Wild West Express has Weird West factions. The Union Enlightened may not be aliens, celestials. Scott Mulder says, Don, Interstellar is going to be a tome. We're at 91 pages just on world building notes. Okay, real quick. Me and Scott's doing an RPG together called Interstellar. It's a sci-fi RPG. Scott's talking at 91 pages. His notes alone. He has not seen my notes yet, which I got to get to him this weekend. But we've got artwork, we've got schematics, I'm even drawing the ships out. We've got a ton of stuff. Interstellar is going to be a tome. He is right about that. Robert Robertson says Wild West Exodus has great Weird West factions like the Union, the Enlightened, may or not be aliens, these Celestials. Continual Light was handy for that. Mr. Gunn says, Don, sure, Shadow Dark has a real world torch timer, but some TTRPGs cannot resolve a combat in 2 days, much less 30 minutes. You know what? I think that also has a lot to do, Mr. Gunn, with the DM who lets things drag on. Sometimes you got to kind of push things along, but you make a really good point there. You really do. Toddlers with knives not being dangerous. Tell that to the 5th level fighter who was critted by a baby goblin. Oh my God, I would have loved to have seen that. Got a jet. Good night. Chad, thank you for tuning in tonight, my friend. I'll see you this weekend. We will be posting content all weekend. Mr. Gunn says, Tom, looking for silverfish in the shadow end. Tom is dealing with something. It's past 9 o'clock, guys. We're running late. So we're going to be cutting this off.
Get on with Don. Say hello to him after.
Classic Age RPGs. Mr. Gunn says, my callow youth comment was sarcastic every previous generation. Oh, I know you were joking around, Mr. Gunn. I was just kind of joking back. But, ladies and gentlemen, it is 9:20, and I know you guys have had your fill of this beautiful bald head. Okay? But everybody, thank you for tuning in. And no problem. I get that. Yep, Tom. So, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for all of your questions. Everybody, your questions were great. We got to do this more often. Let you guys kind of take over the creative director hat in this. Happy to answer the questions. Everybody was really good. Everybody answered the questions. Eric had to scoot. It is past 9 o'clock, so I know Tom does have toddler duty. Real quick, Tom, I have to ask you publicly, how's the little one's leg doing? Everything good?
She's doing good.
Good deal.
We were at the doctor's office this morning, but yeah,
I haven't heard her much, so she must be doing pretty well.
No,
Yeah.
Good deal.
I had to kill the camera to go get some.
I get it. It's past 9 o'clock.
Tylenol and dose it.
Yeah.
We just don't want her having any pain. So
no worries.
Yeah.
Tammy, heard you in the background. Howdy.
Yes, hello.
So Olivia did want to say hi to Uncle Don. Say hi, Uncle Don.
Hi, Oliviana. I get it. But everybody, again, thank you very much. Guys, it's Labor Day weekend. Grab a game this weekend. Play some games. Have some fun. Do some good stuff. But this is Don.
And Steve.
And Tom.
And we are the Vlog of Many Things. Eric had to cop out because Eric is doing his speakeasy on Discord. So head over to Discord, 10 Cars Tavern, see if you can get in. It's a live chat, a lot of fun. Please, everybody, like and subscribe. We're trying to build the channel up. We're trying to get more subscribers because as we get to go, YouTube is now starting to do a thing where you have to have a certain amount of subscribers now to do certain type of length of content. They're implementing that come October.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
It's a content grab. But everybody, again, thank you very much. Happy Labor Day. Steve, Tom, thank you very much for being my compatriots in this little adventure. And we here at the Vlog of Many Things, we'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.